Many times we are told to do things that are selfless, to help others when we don't see an immediate return, to do things that are right, that are correct, and that by doing so, blessing will come into our life. And so today I want to share with you this very moving, a very powerful Jewish story that happened a few hundred years ago in Poland. There used to be a rabbi named Rabbi Herschel. He was a very kind and good man, and he was always so generous. He would constantly raise money in town and give that money to orphans and poor people in town. Eventually, he got so busy that he needed to hire an assistant. This assistant's name was Angel Moses, and he was there to help him raise funds, to organize, to collect, and to distribute. And this assistant was very devoted, and he worked very hard. But at some point, he moved out of that town to start a new life and get married. About a month later, after he left town, Rabbi Herschel went to where he collected money in a small purse that he had hidden in his desk, and to his surprise, the money was gone, the purse was gone, and it contained 500 rubles, which was a very, very big amount of money in those days. And it was missing. And so he was very anxious, very nervous, and he was really worried that now he wouldn't be able to distribute the money and help those in need. And then he says, you know what, it must be my assistant. The only person who knew where I kept the money was my assistant. He must have borrowed the money to do his wedding, and he probably has the intention to return it. But at this time, the situation was very difficult in town, and the rabbi needed the money right away. So he traveled and finally got to his assistant. And when he got to his house, the students were very surprised to see him. They sat down, they ate and drank something. And then finally the rabbi told him, he says, you know why I'm coming here? It's because I'm sure you plan to return it. I'm sure you needed the money. And I understand. But the 500 rubles are needed now. And if you borrowed it, then I need to ask them to be returned. As soon as the rabbi said that, the assistant's face turned pale. He started shaking, and it seems like he was very, very sorry. He went back into his office and came out with exactly 500 rubles that he gave to the rabbi. During that time, he never said a word, and the rabbi, not wanting to embarrass him, never said a word either, and they left. Now, fast forward a month and a half later, a police officer from town started banging on the rabbi's door. And he says, Rabbi, we found the robber. And the rabbi says, what are you talking about? What robber? He said, this woman, we saw her spending money in town. We know she doesn't have any money. And we asked her, where's the money coming from? And finally, she admitted she stole it from your house when she was a clean lady. She was cleaning for Passover. And she stole all the money for herself. And we are now here to return the money to you. Rabbi was shocked. How is this possible? It was his assistant who took the money. But wait a minute. Maybe he never actually took the money. And maybe that's why he didn't say anything. The rabbi thanked the policeman, took the purse back with all the money, and right away went out of town to visit once again his assistant. And as he got there, he sat down with the assistant and he apologized. He told him, you know, I'm so sorry, I had no idea. I really thought it was you, and you should have said something. The assistant says, you know, this money was money from our wedding. From all the gifts we received, it came up to exactly 500 rubles. And you say you needed the money for the poor people, and so I decided to give it to you. And the rabbi felt so sad for doubting his assistant. And at the same time, he says, you know, this tzedakah, this charity that you just did, not wanting to upset me, not wanting to tell me that you didn't have the money and knowing how much anguish it would cause me, is gonna earn you for generation and generations to come that you should never have to worry about any money. Fast forward, the grandsons of Angel Moses, whose last name, by the way, was Rothschild, each one of his sons, went on throughout Europe, each opened a bank, and it was the first international bank where money was exchanged between banks because of the trust that the brothers had, and they became extremely wealthy, extremely successful. As we know, the name of the Baron Edmund of Rothschild is called Hanadiv Hayadua, the famous benefactor, which has helped throughout generation and generation Jews all around the world to find safety, prosperity, and to this day, they continue to be an impact. And so remember, when you are told to do something selfless, think about the impact it could have on generation to come, on your life of your kids and your grandkids. And so hopefully this story inspires you to go help someone, and I wish you all a great day.